Welcome, 8th graders. I am so absolutely thrilled to have you here for today's Explainer. We are going to be talking about stepping up your digital communication skills. As you advance in your education, the way you share your brilliance with the world, well, it needs to advance too. Today, we're moving way beyond the basic paragraph and looking at how you can truly bring your ideas to life.
I want you to think about this for a second. Have you ever written a standard essay or maybe a written summary and just thought to yourself, man, words on a page just don't capture the whole picture here? Because if so, you are entirely right. Today's world goes far beyond plain text. To really succeed, both in school and in life, you need a dynamic digital creators toolkit that lets you build things like slideshows, dynamic videos, podcasts, and infographics.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the power of multimodal texts. Second, we'll talk about how to choose and combine your modes. Third, we'll look at some real-world examples. Fourth, designing with balance and giving proper credit. And finally, honoring God in digital spaces. Starting right off with Section 1, the power of multimodal texts. As 8th graders, you're tackling way bigger concepts, deeper books, and much more complex history. And because your ideas are growing, your methods of presenting those ideas really must evolve. A plain piece of lined paper is great, but sometimes you just need a bigger canvas. So here is our core academic term for the day, a multimodal response. This is a response that uses more than just words, by combining text, images, audio, video, or even interactive features to share your understanding of a text. Let's break that down a bit. The prefix multi means many, and modal refers to the different modes or methods of communication. So, instead of just using one mode, like writing, you're layering multiple methods together to make a much stronger impact.
And this brilliantly illustrates the difference. A written summary explains ideas using plain text, which, don't get me wrong, is incredibly valuable. But a multimodal response actually illustrates those ideas visually with video clips or infographics. When you respond to a text using different modes, you engage your audience so much more deeply. You aren't just telling them what happened, you're showing them, you're letting them hear it, and sometimes even letting them interact with it. It's a total game changer.
Moving on to Section 2, choosing and combining your modes.
Now, it's one thing to know what a multimodal response is, but it's time to roll up our sleeves and learn how to actively build one. Building a really strong multimodal project always follows these 3 critical steps. Step 1, choose your main message. Before you open a video editor, before you even pick a cool font, what exactly do you want the audience to understand? Step 2, select the best modes to communicate that specific message. And Step 3, combine those modes so they work perfectly together. Notice that the digital tools come second. Your clear message always comes first.
Let's look at how this plays out with 2 very different assignments. If you're responding to a historical article, you might want to combine key quotes, maybe some black and white images from that specific time period, and a serious voiceover narration explaining the facts. But what if you're responding to a poem? Well, you need a completely different set of tools. You might combine a recorded reading of yourself actually speaking the poem, layer in some emotional background music, and use visuals that match the tone. See, different texts require completely different creative tools to communicate the right mood and facts.
Section 3, real-world multimodal examples.
I want you to really imagine yourselves creating these exact projects for your upcoming classes. Seeing finished products helps us understand why we use specific modes for specific problems. Now, what's really interesting here is how each specific format solves a communication problem perfectly. Say you read an article on recycling. An infographic is the perfect format there. Why? Because visual stats help your audience actually remember the data. For a short story, a video is fantastic because it combines spoken and visual storytelling to make the plot totally clear. And if you're researching animal habitats, building an interactive map is incredible because it lets your audience click around and explore the facts at their own pace. You're choosing exactly the right tool for the job.
All right, Section 4, designing with balance and credit. Now that you have all these amazing creative tools right at your fingertips, we need to talk about the rules of the road for digital creation. Setting up boundaries for good design and ethical behavior is what separates an amateur from a true digital creator. First rule, keep your design balanced. Think about it kind of like mixing paint. If you take bright blue, red, yellow, green, and purple paint and just mix them all together in equal amounts, what do you get? You don't get a masterpiece, you get an ugly, muddy brown. The exact same goes for digital design. Too many bright colors, crazy fonts, or wild animation zooming across the screen will completely distract your audience from your main point. Restraint and clear focus are just as important as adding all those cool effects.
The second rule is an ethical one, and it is beautifully captured here in the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 8. We are instructed to focus our minds on whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure. As 8th graders learning to navigate the digital world, this verse is really the ultimate standard for what we should be thinking about and ultimately what we should be creating.
When we take Philippians 4:8 and apply it to our digital toolboxes, it gives us some really clear biblical morality tips. First, create honestly and respectfully. Second, always give credit for any images, videos, or sounds you use. Look, citing your sources isn't just some strict rule your teachers made up. It's a matter of honesty. It's about not stealing someone else's hard work. And third, ensure your work is accurate, uplifting, and kind. Creating content with integrity is a very direct way to honor God in digital spaces.
Which brings us to Section 5, Honoring God in Digital Spaces.
We're elevating what we've learned today. Making a digital project isn't just an academic skill. It's actually a spiritual responsibility. So the crucial point is captured right here in 1 Corinthians 10:31. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do all to the glory of God. Notice it literally says, whatever you do. That includes your digital creations. It includes your homework. It includes the slideshow you present in front of your class. Everything is an opportunity to reflect His glory. This principle is the absolute core of the HeroesMart Academy Godly Learners philosophy, which is intertwining biblical morality with education. Now, why do we intertwine them? Well, because quite frankly, education without morality can actually be harmful. If you gain all the technical skills in the world to make highly persuasive videos and websites, but you completely lack a moral compass, you could use those skills to spread negativity, falsehoods, or to tear others down.
Your new ability to create a multimodal response is honestly kind of like a superpower. And as you know, superpowers must be used for good. Knowledge and intelligence should help you make wise, God-honoring choices rather than simply making you more capable. We want you to be highly capable, absolutely, but we want you to use those capabilities as a tool meant for truth, wisdom, and righteous choices.
Let's move to our final spiritual foundation. Romans 8, verses 6 through 7, teaches us that to be spiritually minded is life and peace. As you pursue academic excellence, as you learn to edit video, record audio, and design beautiful graphics, keep your mind centered on God. When your education is truly rooted in spiritual mindedness, it leads to true life and peace.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought today. As you log off and step into your next assignment, ask yourself, how will your next digital project glorify God? You have the tools. You have the knowledge. Now, it's time to create something beautiful, truthful, and impactful. Thanks for joining me for this Explainer 8th graders. Get out there and create something absolutely amazing.